on, George. Here we go.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Monday. Hope we're all doing well. We're going to talk about the Aston Villa game. We're going to go over the live reaction for Arsenal's very, very hard, enticing FA Cup draw. And we're going to talk about our trip to Norway, and if we could probably touch a bit on the Liverpool game. Just want to welcome my guests. Jack, how are you, mate?
I'm good. I've slept finally last night after a night shift followed by the train to London, followed by the train back. I've been able to get some sleep, so feeling refreshed and ready to go.
Sleep? What's that? Yeah. Andrew, how you doing, mate? It was good to see you there. Battled late fitness test with the man flu. He made it.
We're yes, like a story like Lazarus rising from the dead. I was able to make it. I genuinely thought I was going to die, and then the next day, at the moment, I'm down the M40 on my way to the Emirates to watch a very entertaining game of football. But yeah, welcome everyone.
Yeah, talking about Lazarus, the one, the only, Katrina Core Appreciation Society. Paul, how you doing?
Absolutely ecstatic, right?
Yeah,
it's a great day to be a Gooner.
I think it was probably the only time that most of the row thought when Call come on. Paul, that's all we thought. Paul Call, that's all we thought. James, how you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Long drive back last night, a bit tired from it, but we move on, we live.
Yeah, there's me and Jack moaning about tiredness, and you have to drive back to Scotland, so it feels a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and followed by a full day of work, not too bad.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, and we will have Super Mel McDonald soon. She's just she's rudely a bit delayed by winning in a cup game, so that she was in a draw. So well done to Mel's team as well. She's on the road to winning the Scottish Cup. So yeah, we might have a double on the podcast. Super Renee and Mel at Wembley, and where the Scotland Cup game final is. So yeah, thank you to whoever's watching. Let's get under. We'll switch it around a bit just because I like to keep people on their toes. We'll get the live reaction to the FA Cup draw. I don't know any of the other games, so if anyone does, just butt in. But Chelsea have probably got a nice easy draw or something, because that's what Chelsea do. Jack, I'll start with you. So for those who don't know, Arsenal have been drawn at the home of football against Bristol City. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, for selfish reasons, I'd have preferred somewhere up north. I mean, that's just purely for the ease of getting there. No, it's a nice, cosy tie-in set. I mean, Bristol City will be up for it. They'll be organised. But with Renee at the wheel, we seem to have a real knack of playing against low blocks. And our players are playing with a real attacking freedom. And I think we'll see an interesting starting 11. I don't think she'll go too weak. I think she doesn't seem to like too many changes. But no, you didn't want to get any of the big teams in the early rounds. And we need a big FA Cup run this year. I am sick of going out of the FA Cup and not making it to the final. I think it's about time we all remembered again that the FA Cup is our cup.
Yeah, I was hoping that, like I was saying yesterday in the pub, that I thought they should do the draws on teams. Arsenal can only get teams away from home that have a pop world in their city centre. It kind of ruins the vibes otherwise.
Just say this though very quickly, George. I think for Bristol City and for the smaller teams, though, going away from home to a bigger stadium will definitely help them financially. So I think there'll be a lot of Bristol City fans very, very pleased.
It is a good point, but my only thing with that is if it's at Meadow Park, they're not going to get the full thing, are they?
Still be a good turnout, though, I bet, compared to perhaps what they usually get.
Yeah, Andrew, I'll come to you about that. Obviously, I do get what Jack's saying, but they would have hoped that game would be at the Emirates, and no way would that be at the Emirates. Will it?
I wouldn't have thought so. I guess I don't know whether. Yeah, I don't know whether they can change the venue. I guess they get the. They must get the. Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, that's a little bit awkward. We'll move on. It's okay. We're not live. We can just edit that bit out. Yeah, they must do their analytics beforehand, and I'm guessing. I don't know. Do you know what? Now you say that, I don't know whether they would, because 30,000. Yesterday. On a dreadful, the weather was dreadful. It wasn't going to be the it's not the biggest of games. So if we're getting 30,000 for something like that, or just under 30,000, should I say, for that, they might think so, and they might think that it's that the Emirates is worth it. I don't know. Yeah, again, talking to Darren Wells yesterday, and it's like, where's the cutoff point that the Emirates becomes viable? How many thousand, potential tickets do they think they need to sell before it becomes, that they're not operating a loss? I suppose a part of me just wants all our games at the Emirates now. I think it's a statement that if we do that, that's our own stadium, that's our stadium. It becomes a home. There was an interview with Renee the other day, and she was just saying about. Just the facilities that the Arsenal have at the Emirates versus what they've got at Boreham Wood. Even on those matters, it's massive in that way. So, we're kind of, these are live reactions, but I hope it's at the Emirates, actually.
I just think I'll come to you, Paul. I just think, obviously, I know Bristol, you may get more at Meadow Park than Bristol City will have. But will these smaller teams be hoping that they got Arsenal away from home later in the cup, because then there's more chance of it because it's all about money, let's be honest, isn't it?
Yeah, basically that's been proven with other cup competitions recently that have to be relocated to different venues. Money talks. Of course, the fourth round of the Women's FA Cup is on the same weekend as the men's third round this year. So, of course, a lot of it will depend when they want to play this fixture against Bristol, because the men are at home to Man United in the third round of the FA Cup.
Yeah.
So
and they won't
they're not going to move the men to Boreham Wood for a women's game against Bristol City. Let's be honest. But yeah, I think the smaller teams would want to come to the Emirates. And I know Bristol City are not the smallest team in the competition. They were WSL last season. We played them at Meadow Park, I think, in the Conti Cup as well, as the league last year. So, I was at the Conti Cup game in the snow, I think that one was. In January. And that was a midweek game, but they didn't even sell out Meadow Park for that one. So, if it's a Saturday or Sunday, it probably will this time round. If they suddenly decide to whack it on a Monday night or something silly, might be a different matter.
Yeah. No, I agree. Because what my kind of thinking is with it is, James, is that as deeper the competition goes, surely, like we was mentioning about small clubs, if there's a certain North London derby that gets drawn, say quarterfinals, semi-finals, surely you'd be wanting to see that at the Emirates and not Meadow Park. No disrespect.
Absolutely. I think, as Jack Knapp rightfully saying, that every small club, especially Championship downwards, of course they want the big payday. For Bristol City, we are obviously, if they beat us, touch wood, they don't, it'd be a giant killing, but obviously they're seeing it as that's their cup final. The more tickets that are sold, the bigger the income they get, and it could rightfully help them finance the rest of their season. So clubs will always look to go for the bigger stadiums, even if it is just a 25,000-30,000 crowd.
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. I'd been told it there, but as Paul said, Arsenal, Man U, third round, they're definitely not moving us away from the Emirates for that one.
No, especially when they kind of done the draw and then specifically put it at 3:00 on the Sunday, I think, as well. So,
I'll tell you what, George, what a time would it be for a double header? Arsenal versus Bristol City, followed by Arsenal United, an FA Cup day.
Yeah, I wouldn't be dead against that. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind seeing Arsenal win twice, so it's fine. Everyone likes beating Man United, don't they? So I did think it was pretty ironic that Man United's men team lost 3-2, I think, to Nottingham Forest, and then straight after our Radcliffe said, about they weren't really bothered about the women's team. They went and spanked Liverpool 4-0, wasn't it? So well, that was quite ironic. Yeah, I also, Jack, let's going back to the FA Cup game. I think I do get what you mean, but it's whether, like what I've said as well, when we go forward, going to be looking at Meadow Park. Are we going to be ground sharing sort of Meadow Park and the Emirates, or are they fully going to move to the Emirates?
I would love it just to be the Emirates. I think the Emirates is our home now, and I think it is for the players, it is for the fans. I don't like Meadow Park.
Russo said it, didn't she, in an interview? I think.
Yeah, she did.
About what it's like playing there.
And I think actually they deserve it. I mean, it's not. I've always said it's not that difficult to organise games to make sure they don't cross at the same time as the men's games. There's not the women's fixture list is not absolutely packed. They can sort it out, and I think we have to expect the best for both. I mean, if an issue like the Carabao Cup quarter final, and I think 2 cup games can clash, that can occasionally happen. But I do think for definitely FA Cups, there's loads and loads of flexibility when it comes to TV. Like there's the Friday night game, there's the Saturday lunchtime game, there's the Sunday slot game. These are all big slots for TVs. And I think Arsenal, Man United men will get the pick of all them. And I don't think the TV companies are going to be vying for a certain spot, which means hopefully the Arsenal-Bristol City game, which in my opinion is equally as big, can then be slotted into another prime slot. Because I think people love to attend the Emirates, especially for the women's games at the weekend. I think that's probably the big difference in our attendances between a weekend game where people can get over, can travel from afar, and also young people can get across London, the tubes, people haven't been at work, compared to in the week when people have got jobs, travel becomes more difficult, and London just becomes busier to get through.
Yeah. That phone call was just Sky saying, stop talking about the TV coverage. Yeah. Carrying it a bit on with that, Andrew. It's understandable. Obviously, we don't think that the game's probably going to be moved at the moment, but you never know with Arsenal Football Club. That's not going down that road. So, would that be the sort of game that you expect to see some of the youngsters playing, like Viv Leah, Freya Godfrey, and Katie Reid, them sort of players?
Yeah, and obviously Kira Walsh will be making her debut. Lol. I think in all seriousness, you'd want to, it's not a complete in and out, but yeah, maybe Freya Godfrey and Viv Leah. It'd be interesting to see who is there, whether they've gone out on loan as well. But absolutely, yeah, you would like to see some rotation. And I guess it depends who the manager is as well at that point, because at this moment it's obviously it's Renee, but whether she's there by then, And at that point, it becomes the managers need to be seeing what the first team looks like. So that could be the influence. If there's a new manager and wants to work with the first team, particularly if they're putting in some new, into some new systems or whatever. So, but yeah, you would like to see some of those. Maybe even Naomi Williams. I don't know whether the Zinsberger then becomes the cup keeper at that point. She seems to have. Daphne is now the starter, a keeper. So yeah, it does definitely give us an opportunity. And the season starts to kick in. We're into the second part of the season, and maybe it's about kind of managing minutes a little bit more. Or maybe we could just play a whole team of all our centre backs, because we apparently have about 11 centre backs at the moment, and so if you can have maybe bring back Big Jem Beattie to go up front just for one game. I don't know if you could just loan her for that one, but there's so much dependent on it now. As I was thinking about it, there's so much dependent on it. But as it is now, yeah, you'd like to see the youngsters, but we're not really sure. You've got the January transfer window as well, and there's going to be some comings and goings. Sorry, Paul. A certain Danish international maybe having a big move to Lynn Shopping or something. There you go. I'll do. Shut up, Gambrel.
Yeah, I do agree. I was actually going to say about Naomi Williams, because it's probably a perfect chance for her to actually get a game, isn't it? I know what people say about Manu, but she can play in the I wouldn't say the Conti Cup. It's not the Conti Cup anymore, is it? The League Cup. So I think Manu leaves in the summer personally, but yeah, against someone like, say, Bristol City, it gives Naomi Williams that chance to see what she's made of as well. And just want to say full respect for what Naomi Williams done with her interview as well. I don't think that's been mentioned enough. So
I was about to say, George, I think we've seen what she's made of, and it's some pretty fucking tough stuff by the looks of it.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, like we were saying, like about the players, like we could put a team out that's basically, so say Williams or Zinsberg, and then go Vima Moita if she stays fit, with Kadina, Katie Reid, maybe we'll find a left back from somewhere. I don't know what one we'll play, but then you could play people like is it Madison Earl and Kim will probably play. You know what I mean? Like, so if you actually mixed it up, you probably wouldn't have such a bad like Kafaji. Like, could you imagine that could be the game of sort of confidence that hits her on?
Yeah. Do you think with it you'd need a spine of experience? So maybe keeping Kim, obviously Kim or Leah. 2 or 3 of the absolute veterans to kind of keep it all together.
I don't really think so.
On Andrew.
I don't think so, mate. I think Kyra could do that. Personally, it's Bristol City, like famous last word.
Mel's in the house, by the way, George.
All right, Mel.
Evening on.
I'll come to you straight after this. Yeah, it's. I think if you had a midfielder, say Kyra, Kafaji, and one of the youngsters, that should be enough to get you through. And then you've got people. I think people like Beth Mead would probably still play, and maybe Stina. So, what's your thoughts, Mel, with the draw against Bristol City? And would you mix and match, or?
I'll be honest, this is the first that I'm hearing that we actually drew Bristol City.
Yeah, see that I'm all about breaking the news, me.
There was another draw on my mind this evening. But no, I think it's a perfect opportunity to switch up a bit and get some more of the minutes in the youngsters. Obviously, you don't want to completely change the lineup and sort of pick a team like Bristol while they're down. I think it's a bit of an insult to go out and not play a strong lineup, even if you're playing against a smaller team. But we've seen before when we've played Bristol, they certain players they had at that point did well to stop. From our perspective, quite a strong squad. So put a few of the youngsters in, but I wouldn't change it up massively because you don't want to put a ridiculously young squad and then shoot yourself in the foot and you're at the FA Cup. But the the hands of a team like Bristol.
Yeah. Talking about draws. Go on, floor's yours. Who did you get?
We've got St Johnstone away.
Ah, you take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we'll take it. They're second bottom of the SWPL 2. Only got a couple points to their name, so we'll take it. It's not one of the big three that we wanted, and it's not the team in the league above us that we wanted either. But looking at it, it's a winnable tie if we play like we did on yesterday afternoon. So we'll take it. We're in the round of 16 of the Scottish Cup. You know what I mean, like 120 odd teams in Scotland, and we're one of the final 16. Exactly. So we can't complain at that.
And then you can beat Rangers in the next round, can't they, James?
Exactly, they're getting pumped.
Yeah. Talking. I'll go to you, James. Obviously, what's your thoughts on the Bristol City, like the actual with who you think could play? Do you think that could be like the chance for Rosa Kafaji to kind of make a statement?
I'd like to think so, but in all honesty, I said it the other night when we were when I was in the chat, and I took pelters. At one point, I was asked if I was Jack in disguise when I said mass exodus. I hope not, but I truly believe there is going to be, whether it be players leaving on loan permanently, there's going to be a mass exodus. But I would like to see a sort of mix, young and experienced. Bring the younger one, as I say, a few of the younger ones, even if you play Manu first half, get a good result half time and then bring Naomi on for the second half, give her a run out. It's that sort of working we need to work with. But personally, us being us, the last few seasons, FA Cups not been our strong point. I think we would most likely stick with the tried and tested what we know, get the job done and get out in the next round.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard about this in the chat. So, James, I am going to put the pressure on you here. Apparently, we were getting rid of 10 players. Who are they?
Listen, I could pull any 10 out the bag, to be quite honest. Manu, I think, as I say, Manu's going to, for me, Manu's one that's got to leave. I can't see her staying and sitting on a bench being a bench warmer. She's been number one for so long.
Yeah.
And then, as I say, you get a few of the younger ones. I wouldn't like to see them go, but Katie Reid, what I think will be put out on loan. Obviously, sorry, Paul. Cool, I think will be another. Stina, I think as well, if she doesn't start getting more of a run, I could see her leaving. And then there's other ones as well. Like I say, it's for their own sake, their own moving forward and progressing their own careers and winning stuff. The likes of some big comes in for the likes of, I'll probably hate for this, but Leah Williamson. She's been with the club for so long. A good send off. Let her go and make a mark like Kira Walsh, Lucy Bronze, all done. They all moved abroad. Barcelona, Georgia Stanley went to Bayern Munich. They're all thriving. I could see that happening, but obviously hope they don't. As I say, yeah. For me personally, there's going to be a mass exodus come the summer.
You're a braver man than me, James.
Wow.
Listen, as I say, quite a few of those players. Stina, I like Stina. I think Stina's a cracking striker. I've always liked her when she came. But when you get even on a going back to the bad run we had at the start of the season, Alessia Russo just she couldn't tie her own shoelaces, and yet she was still getting the start above Stina. And for being such a good striker, I don't see why she sits on a bench week in, week out when if another team comes in and says, listen, we'll give you a start, you'll be our star striker.
Yeah, I think that chance that she put wide is probably why she starts on the bench.
Yeah, but she made up for that.
Yeah, no. Unforgivable, mate. But, don't get me started on Arsenal and goals they should have scored.
4-0, George. 4-0.
Yeah, this is the big problem with having the Arsenal men and the Arsenal women playing at the exact same time. Like, you guys who follow the other teams may appreciate. I think that was probably the most gutted I've been after a 4-0 home win.
To be fair, I said the same, George. I honestly feel we are one of those teams we just do not want to kill our team off.
No.
It
was just
that could have been double figures on Sunday.
Yeah, we just don't win. We just don't. When the men and the women play at the same time, we were just on the same day. They just don't win. It's just don't happen. Like Mel, you were doing a pre-show. I died in the stands when Saka's goal got ruled out. Like, it was part of me has not left the Emirates. So we'll go on to the game. I'll start with you, Jack. Obviously, I think the lineup kind of answered itself, and we started off quite well, didn't we? It seems like when we played the Arsenal reserves team, I think there was like 4 of them, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was, to be fair. Who did we have? We had Sabrina, we had Noel Maritz, we had Anna Patton, obviously Jordan Nobbs. Yeah, so at least 4. There might be some youth players somewhere. I think everyone comes through
Was
our
it,
youth point or another.
Parker? She didn't play for us, did she?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I'm not sure.
Is it Lucy Parker?
Don't know. Don't recognise that name.
Yeah.
Let me fact check.
She might have been like in the academy or something.
I was happy with the lineup. I thought it was a pretty.
Oh, man down. You're right, George.
Sorry, I just not.
Jesus Christ. He's doing the Jaeger bombs, doing live. Remember, George, not now.
Yes, Lucy Parker had her youth career at Arsenal before she went out to play for the LSU Tigers and the UCLA Bruins.
Good spot, George.
West Ham and Aston.
Fair play. I didn't know that one. Fair play.
That's what I'm just called the stat man. That's what I call me.
No, I was happy with the start.
Alex level, mind her. Alex loves to sit in the pub and be like, name like the most random player you've ever thought of, and go, mind her. That's an Alex level shout.
I'll take that. That's good praise as well. And if anyone says men can't multitask, I just saved my phone from smashing off the floor while asking that question.
There's a theme developing there, George. My fingers are still get anxious as soon as we score, and George's phone comes flying out of his pocket 4 times. PTSD I had.
It must be me, because when we went to the men's game and Saliba scored the first, when we scored the first, I jumped up and my phone smashed it off the floor, and Dorian had to save it as well. So yeah, getting back to normality. Well, nothing's normal on this show, guys. So we've heard Leah Williamson needs to be out the door, and Jack ain't made any outtakes yet.
I was about to say, I thought I was controversial, but that's a brave take.
Mel, did you see the game?
I've said about Leah ever since the Euros.
Yeah.
I honestly, she puts me in mind of someone that can do great things, and it's as if, I don't want to sound too controversial, but it's almost to the point Arsenal's holding her back. There's that. I'm an Arsenal.
Oh my God. James, you're way much bigger than me, but we're.
Oh dear.
As I say, it's just my gut feeling.
Fair.
He's just doing it so we get more subscribers. So thank you, James.
I was about to say, who's bigger than the Arsenal? That's
well, Lena Hurty, obviously, but that's a different show.
Lena,
Mel, did you see the game?
I did not all of it. I watched the highlights, which wasn't very long. I think the goals based were good. Russo's 2 finishes, unbelievable. That ball from Kyra on the first one we need her on the pitch more often for no other reason than her set pieces. Because if anybody else in our team could deliver set pieces like that, we would have been laughing so far this season.
Yeah.
Saw Stina's howler, but again, what do we expect from Stina Blackstenius? Obviously, she then pulled the goal back, and Beth Mead, right place, right time for that tap in. So, from an attacking standpoint, we look a bit stronger, but definitely could have buried the coffin a lot earlier. Should have been a lot more than 4-0.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, there was large parts of that game, though, we didn't have loads of control. Like, it was quite interesting to hear Rene talk about it afterwards and how we didn't have anywhere near the same amount of possession as we usually do. And even in the ground, you could feel there was good 15, 20-minute periods where we just lulled. No one created anything. And I don't know if it was the weather, the wind, the rain, but it did feel like we really struggled at times to get ourselves going. And then it was just sudden moments of absolute brilliance that created chances.
Yeah. I'm just reading some of the comments. We'll come to them in a minute. Yeah, I agree. Like, I thought it was more one of those performances, Paul, that there were some parts of the game we didn't have. It wasn't as like controlling as we thought, but they just were very ruthless with their chances. Would you say that's true, or?
I can't tell if Paul's
Is he
frozen or...
Is he gobsmacked?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
It was an odd game. It was. We had some. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Massive delay.
No.
That's like an Australia answer. That's about 2 minutes delayed.
Yeah, there were parts of the game where we were quite fluent and we got the ball forward quickly, and then we had other periods where we seemed to let them sort of come on to us quite a bit.
Cool. Thank you. Andrew, I'll come to you. So obviously we know that Arsenal watch the podcast because it keeps running true. But it looked like they actually played a one pivot. They didn't play the double pivot in midfield, like with obviously Kyra, Frida. What was your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. When I saw the program, I thought they were going to have like Mariona is like as kind of a left eight, sort of like really pushing up high, but she kind of played the Kimmy role, and she did it amazingly well. I guess it's just interesting. I suppose it's normally Kim or Vic would be there, but obviously 2 injuries there, and I guess they thought whilst Frida's probably got all the tools to kind of drop back, Mariona's experience. So and I get the sense that the change was pretty late. I think from what I was listening to Tim Stillman's podcast earlier, and they were saying it's quite they didn't have a chance to kind of really practice with it. So if it had been the Bayern game, Kimmy would have played, but it was just it was precautionary. And they knew they could, but I thought Mariona was fantastic, and it's just incredible. I think she's her game positions versus games ratio is amazing. Again, maybe for the Bristol game, she can go in goal, and let Manu and Daphne have a run around up front. Yeah, I thought the midfield. I mean, and that's interesting. Absolutely, Jack. I thought we didn't have the control, but we'd lost Leah Valti, probably, the second best defensive midfielder in the world behind Kira Walsh. And Kyra is really good, but her skills are more kind of in the attacking sense. And and obviously Kimmy's ball retention we maybe missed a little bit. So I think, Villa. It was just interesting. Villa maybe took some of the control off us, but they did absolutely nothing with it, and made it quite a dull game in parts. And I think you're right. 4-0, you think, oh, that sounds like an exciting game, but there was no jeopardy the Villa. I mean, Villa didn't even have a corner. And
Andrew, I had a look. Villa had one single shot off target in the full 90.
That's
and that was
shocking, isn't it? That's shocking. I mean, even in the second half, when they came out and they clearly made some adjustments and they had more of the ball, but they did nothing with it really. And yeah, I mean, poor Daphne. I hope she still gets her pay because she's not getting paid by the shots. Because yeah, she'd be getting the taxi home, maybe even on a bicycle home. But yeah, I mean that was the dullest 4-0 I've ever seen in my life. And yeah, but luckily, interestingly, the 4 goals were really well taken. And Peak Stina absolutely misses that sitter, and then the one she does score, the timing of it, and absolutely, whilst also getting absolutely battered by Sabs as well in the process. I've forgotten the original question, George. Just talked for too long.
No, so I'm used to it. Used to it with you. That's fine.
Seems fair.
To be fair, Sabrina was getting a bit of a trolling from me. I was like, just shoot at her. She can't catch. Don't worry, she can't. Yeah, but
she had a fairly decent game. I think there was.
Yeah, wasn't that decent, mate. She let 4 goals in.
Yeah, I think having all that many shots against her, I don't think she could be labelled. I think maybe the Russo goal, but the others were just she was kind of left on her own really.
Talking about Russo, Mel, obviously I think she scored 5 goals in 4 WSL games now, so she's starting to find her rhythm. But I think her second goal was, absolutely special, proper number 9, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she had no right shooting from that sort of angle. And when you look at it, originally I thought, she had heaps of space there, but I watched it back again, and there's just 3 defenders pressing her. So we're finding the back of the side netting from that angle, and just the placement and the curl she got on it's a brilliant strike. We'd be surprised if it's not up for December goal of the month, if I'm honest. But yeah, she's definitely found her form again. I think this is we're starting to see glimpses of the Russo that we all wanted when we first signed her last season. So it's looking hopeful.
What do you again, Mel? What do you think brought that to the forefront? Because obviously we saw it towards the end of last season under Jonas, didn't we? But I don't know. She just seems like a complete different animal, in these last few weeks. I
don't know. I think it's now that, from my perspective, I see it as now that we're playing a lot more centrally as well as down the wings, whereas before it was very much we only played centrally or we only played down the wings. There was never a mix of both. It sort of gives Russo the opportunity to sort of float between the centre backs and float out wide and find those little pockets of space that she's really good at finding. So I think she's got that little bit more freedom, knowing that we're not playing such a rigid form of football. Because there has been games before both start of the season and end of last where you can look at it and think, well, we've only ever played down the middle or we've only ever played out wide. So we seem to be a little more predictable at the minute, and it gives Russo, like I say, that freedom to just sort of float about, find those little pockets of space that she's so good at finding that other people would struggle to find, and just finding the back of the net from ridiculous angles.
Yeah, and then James, obviously Beth Mead scored another goal at the Emirates. Every time I say we should sell her or that she could go, she scores. So what was your point? What did you think about her performance? And really?
Yeah, I thought overall she done reasonably well. I'm sort of with yourself. 1 week you feel, Beth, you don't want to be here. The next week she comes out and she's one of the star players. So it's hard to kind of judge with Beth just now. But I think yesterday she took what chances she did get. She took them pretty well. But I think overall the full team did feel the pressure of the weather yesterday. I think large spells you could see at points it was as if they were looking at the clock going, just get to the 90 minutes and get us back up the tunnel.
Yeah.
But for Beth, right place, right time, as always. It seems when she scores her goals, and yeah, I'd like to see more of her doing that, but controversially again, Beth is one of the ones I think is sort of eyeing the exit door, whether that be partially to do with what happened with Viv, who knows, but she just doesn't seem to be that same player she once was.
No. Jack, about Beth Mead.
I'm ready for this. Don't worry, George.
Maybe I'm partly guilty for this, but I think sometimes with Beth Mead, like, is it more what she does off the ball and how she brings players in? Because obviously I know you like being a tactical genius. Jackie Ola, that's what I'm calling you.
Oh, she's just not a winger. That's my issue. She's a good goal scorer, but she is not a winger. Yes, she does some good defensive stuff on the wing, but she's never beating the opposition fullback. She's not creating. I think there could be a role for Beth Mead at Arsenal, but it's centrally. I really don't think it's out on the wing. I think you could see the difference in Caitlin Ford on one side, who I didn't think had a great game, but the energy and the pace she injects down that wing is so different to what we get on the other with Beth. She's probably one of the best finishers in the world. Like, I will give her that. The way she knows where to be, when to be. But she spent her whole career training as a striker, I believe. It's only actually very recent in Beth Mead and football that she's played on the wing. For England in the Euros, it was not her gameplay that got her all the adulation that she got. It was her goals. She is a very good goal scorer, but she's not a winger.
When it Jonas that started there as a winner?
It might well have been. It may well. And I think if she continues to play on the wing, there's not going to be a space, because Arsenal need to be able to attack on both sides, and on both sides with pace and energy. And at the moment, we do have one side. I think back to even the Juventus game where we ripped Juventus apart. I think we had Ford and Mariona on each wing, and you could just tell the creativity. Yeah, she played decent. She was a solid 6 out of 10. Defended well, tracked back, worked hard. But these are all just givens, really, and you'd expect any player to do it. Her goal was right place at the right time, but that's her strength. And yeah, I think we've got to find a new role for Beth Mead, and I just don't think it's on the wing.
Take it left wing back's not up there.
No, it has to be central. I just feel like we're
for
wasting.
England, didn't she?
Yeah, we are wasting her. I don't think a Barcelona or a Bayern Munich or a Chelsea would go in for her. And I think if we want to reach them levels, I think we do need a winger that perhaps they would go for. I think they'd all want Russo. I think they'd all want Leah Volti. I think she gets into any of them teams. I actually disagree with Andrew. I think Leah Volti might be even better than Kira Walsh as just a pure defensive midfielder. I think Kira Walsh.
You wanted to sell her earlier in the season.
I know. I get sleepless nights over it. Still, I do for that one. Sleepless nights, but no, you can't argue with Beth Mead's goals, but her performances are just not what you would hope for a winger going for a title or a Champions League, which, as Renee has said in her recent press conference, we are still going for both.
Yeah, it's fair about Beth. And then the biggest moment of the game, and the floor is his.
Yeah.
Katrina / Kathy, just because I like winding people up. Paul, obviously, biggest moment of the season. Call came on.
She did, yes, in the 83rd minute. Yeah, obviously I'm in block 2 at the Emirates, so just behind the bench still. And yeah, there was a little roar went up from one seat there when she started taking her training kit off and getting ready to come on. So yeah, fantastic to see her play. Fantastic to see her play.
I bet Esme was like, oh no.
Yeah. yeah.
We was all expecting to see the Facebook page just like bam, bam, bam. It's call time.
Yeah. Well, there's still time for that. Don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, it was. I'm more thinking that it was probably time just to bring her on because we didn't really have anyone else like as a midfielder. But it's nice to see her. What did she do when she first come on, Paul? Just because I know you told me this at the dinner.
Yeah, she did give the ball away. But on a positive side, she did have a great through ball to Lena Hurtig, who would have carried on to potentially get a goal. But Katie Reid had a little altercation with Noel, the second one in the space of a couple of minutes, and the ref stopped it. So, yeah. But I just I think it was great to see her on the pitch. But I start to think, was it just to put her in the shop window for coming up to January, as just to remind other teams that she's there, and that she's going to be on her way out in a couple of games' time.
Yeah, she could end up at Villa.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She might be. It's probably full of disrespect. This comment. She's probably aiming for a bit more ambition. So, like she'd want to. I don't know. Maybe like someone who's battling for like say 5th or 6th around that sort of position. Like I don't know. Could you see her at Brighton or somewhere like that?
Yeah, I went to the Brighton Leicester game a couple of weeks ago in the Cup and watching the way they played, and I thought she could fit into that Brighton team quite comfortably and would probably be a starter most weeks.
Are you her agent, Paul?
Yeah.
What's going on here? I feel like
I was about to say, guys, she's not even sold yet. I was about to come on and say that perhaps this is Renee just slowly easing her back into football, not introducing her too quickly, and then slowly adding the more minutes as she gets more. Still a young player. Any hope left?
No.
Well, yeah. See what happens on Thursday night. But, just great to see her on the pitch again.
Cool. Mel, have we got comments?
Have we?
Have we got comments? Yes, we have. Let me scroll right up to the top because we're going a bit out of the loop here. I've not
Just read the most controversial ones.
Okay, let me start with the most controversial one, which is we're speaking about Kathy Cool.
Can I guess who it's from?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm going for Darren.
Correct.
Yeah,
he says about Kathy Cool come on. He said 83rd minute and did naffle. Get rid.
Typical Darren. Yeah.
Who needs analysis? Point out she was the only midfield player on the bench, so there wasn't really much other option. People saying that people think that Beth was punted out wide because of Viv.
Oh yeah, fair point.
I think it was a good
Joe
old
put there. It was Joe.
Joe Montemuro move.
Oh, okay.
Another man on my hit list.
I was about to say, a list of illustrious managers grows long, doesn't it?
There's 3 main ones on my hit list, I'll be honest, but we're not going to unpack it. I don't feel like having a meltdown.
Same thing.
Yeah, I don't really feel like having a meltdown tonight, guys. It's been a good weekend, so sorry to disappoint. There is no Mel meltdown this Monday.
Not yet. We'll find something. Don't you worry.
Yeah, give it time.
Yeah. Pedro's just signed a new deal.
Wow.
You can't see the shorts, but I have just given you the dirtiest look. No words need said. I've just looked at you over the top of my glasses.
It's fine. You can give as much dirt. You can give dirty looks to a blind person. It's fine.
People also saying that they thought the atmosphere on Sunday was dire, felt flat.
I will. in that sense, I do understand that. Like, what I think the issue was the men's game being on.
Yeah, it looked
Because
quite
there are a
empty.
few men and women. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to bullshit my way through this. I was listening to the Arsenal Fulham second half in the Emirates. Just because, and I think that doesn't really help because some of the Arsenal fan base do like the men's game, or they like both sides of it. So I don't think that helps. I don't think it helped really that about 40 people probably couldn't make it because of the trains being cancelled. The weather wasn't great. Like, it all kind of adds up, doesn't it? Really.
Yeah.
I'd agree with you, George, but it's a list of. It's been a while now, I think, at the Emirates where it seems to be a topic of talk about the atmosphere on quite a few.
We need a drum.
A drum, and also I think
Yeah.
if we played at every game, season tickets, get your season ticket, your seat at the start of the season, then you get to know who's sat around you. There's not going to be as much. I just think, I think the solution to it is playing the Emirates every game.
I think in that sense, I think that was meant to happen because, like, people did do the HAPs as like group bookings, but obviously not everyone can make all the games and stuff. So, like, if everyone can make all the games, generally, if you've done them group bookings, you'd know who you were sitting with. Really, like, I know I have to sit with Andrew because he can't be trusted on his own. So, and then that's why they probably put Mel near me because they know that she is probably more responsible than I am. So
I think they looked at the group booking and was like, right, Lewis, George, Mel's friends, all quite controversial. Put them near the back, but put them all together.
Yeah. So
we've got your only security detail. There's definitely a guy. We've got one extra person in our block, and he's just for that group.
More than that.
He's the biggest one. He's like 8 foot tall. He's like.
I think one of our pals slipped him a fiver about the megaphone. I'm joking. Before anybody takes that the wrong way, I'm joking.
I was about to say 8 foot tall. Perhaps the men can get him in the side ready for corners.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't mind. I'll sneak a drum in. I don't know how. I'll just say I've had a lot at Christmas or something, but there's got to be a way.
I think a piano would be better.
All right, mate. It's what? I'm not Liberace, mate. You know what I mean? Like, or was that like trying to say, oh, he's blind? Let Ray Charles get on the piano in the closet.
There you go, Ray Charles. What a guy.
Yeah, he hit the road. So I can't even remember what we were talking about.
Football or something.
Lack of atmosphere and controversial comments, but quite quickly we've run out of controversial comments for once.
I think that's because they're being all said on here for once again.
Yeah, I was about to say you guys must have filled the quota without me when the 50 minutes I wasn't here. So
yeah, right. Cool. We'll move on to Vålerenga and get your predictions for that. James, are you probably seeing the same sort of team? And if so, what would your prediction be?
Yeah, I think exactly that. It's going to be tried and tested to the best of their ability. I'm going to be a little cautious this time. I'm going to go for a 4-1.
Bit cautious.
I went 6-1 for Sunday and fell slightly short, so I'll go 4-1. And my first goal scorer as well, I'll probably go. We'll try for a Leah Williamson goal.
Just before she gets sold.
Farewell.
Give her a goal.
So it's lucky because I was nearly on the pitch if we scored one more goal because I think I would have actually got a prediction right for the first time this season. Paul, what about you? What's your views on Thursday and prediction?
Yeah, I think she'll stick with a very similar lineup. It's working. The consistency's there. So yeah, I think probably go for about 3-0.
Yeah. Obviously, Cole to score a hat trick.
Yeah, that's the one. She might get 4 this time.
Right. Andrew?
2-0 Leslie Russo to open the scoring.
Cool. Jack?
3-0. I can't see us conceding. I mean, we've only conceded 1 goal under Rene or something ridiculous, haven't we? I mean, we're stopping. Is it 2 now? I mean, we're stopping teams from even having shots. So,
Can't even get a corner.
I know. It's like a whole new level defending with Caldini at the back. But I'm going to, so 3-0. And I'd have put Rene in the doghouse this week, but I've just found out that Emily Fox wasn't injured, but actually rested. So after the half.
No, mate, she's in the doghouse for me. That is 5 fucking fantasy points. He's done me over for it again.
Well, I thought I was going to keel over at half time when I saw Emily Fox. She needs to put a sign up, I think, at the same time saying not injured, just tactical or something. I thought when she didn't come out at half time, I thought, great, that's it. Where Catley's being moved back to left back out of centre back. Was Lotte going to play at right back? I had no idea what was going on. So I was very relieved. I sat there this morning to read that it was not an injury-related incident. So I'm going Emily
Fox. Great shout. That is a great shout. They should do that. Not injured. I think they should. I think they should always have that.
For everyone, not just for Emily Fox. I was talking to Dorian. I was like, "Where's Emily Fox?" I mean, yeah, proper. That
not injured.
Really soured my day until I'd read that everything was okay and I could continue living my life and doing all right. But
to be fair, I thought Katie McCarlos played well as well.
Yeah, she did. No, I got Emily Fox to get the first goal. It's typical. I've still not seen a score, so I was meant to go to Vålerenga, but in the end had to work. So naturally, she will get that first goal.
Yeah. Mel?
I'm going to say... I'm going to go 4-0 again. And good old Frida for the first goal.
The Queen of Norway.
Second Queen of Norway. There's one in my team too. They're tied for top.
Joint Queen of Norway.
To be fair, I think Mia's scoring record would put Frida's to shame at the minute, but
okay.
We won't have that.
Dorian's best friend Frida. I'm gonna go. I think it'll be actually tighter, to be honest. I'm gonna go 2-0 and Cadente, I think. I've got to get one of them right sooner rather than later. So yeah, drop your predictions in the chat and we'll try and see who gets closest. Obviously, because I'm really rude and actually going to Norway and then straight from there going up to Liverpool, we'll quickly predict the Liverpool game because we are. So, Andrew, I'll start with you. What's your thoughts on the Liverpool game? And
they're not in great shakes, are they? 2-0 again. I think 2-0 again, and Leslie again. Let's keep it easy for the admins. 2-0 Leslie Russo to open the scoring.
Admins, it's just Mel.
Just Mel.
It just falls apart without Mel, to be honest. Paul.
I'll go for 4-0 against Liverpool, and I think after Catherine gets her hat trick on Thursday night, she'll probably take a little step back. So probably Frida for the first scorer for that one.
I thought you were going to say she's going to be the captain.
Well,
you should say she's going to play it right back. James.
I'll go Liverpool. I'll say 5-0. Stina Blackstenius for the first goal. And she'll get a start on that one.
That's after she's missed a sitter in the 5th minute. Mel?
I'm going to go 2-0 because I don't see us scoring from any set pieces against Liverpool with a defender of the height of Jenna Clark to come up against. Yeah. And I'm going to say Katie McCabe to score the first goal. after her screamer last time out against them.
Yeah. Jack.
I don't like Liverpool. I don't like it when we play Liverpool. Don't like Liverpool fans. Don't like Anfield. Their atmosphere is bad. I'm going 2-0 and a Kimmy Little penalty in about the 70th minute, and probably a very stressful weekend with that.
Don't take Jack with you to the Liverpool George. They'll be waiting for him off the bus.
Jack's probably a bit milder than me. I fucking can't stand Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
I have Chelsea, Liverpool, United, Stoke. Yeah. Oh,
Don't forget Spurs and Millwall as well.
I forgot about the Spurs, to be honest.
Millwall fans are petrifying, to be fair. Me and my pals went to, ironically, the Stoke Millwall game during the Women's Euros because Eve's dad's a season ticket holder for Stoke. Yeah. And I've never been so scared in my life. Our Uber driver tried to drop us off outside the home end, and we're all in Stoke City tops, and we're like, no. Drive round the back, please, sir. I'm not getting stabbed here. But it was petrifying. But it was actually really good. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't go back, but I did enjoy it.
We could definitely do a podcast on teams we don't like, because I think who are the worst. I'm just going to say the team because they don't have any fans. MK Dons.
Correct. Horrible stadium.
Horrible stadium. Horrible team. Last time I saw them, it was an awful 2-1 win against Grimsby. Just, yeah, the original franchise FC.
Cool.
Grimsby has got nothing to do with it.
No, I didn't like them before that.
Fair play.
Right, I'm going to go 3-0.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go Steph Catley to score.
Oh.
She's due a goal.
Directly from a corner.
Yeah, exactly. She's going to be watching the men and think, yeah, we can do that.
So what, Steph Catley's gone from being sold by me to, I think, a good contender at the back of my shirt next season.
Wow.
Our things change in a matter of weeks.
We call that growth.
I call it flip flop, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll finish it there. Just want to say thank you to everyone. Sorry, it was a bit of a rush towards the end, but just trying to get everything in. Paul, thank you for coming on, mate.
Oh, thank you for having me again.
Yeah, no problem. Jack, brilliant as always.
No, thank you, George.
Andrew, words fail me sometimes.
I was going to say, cheers. Oh, I'm moved. Oh, I mean, cheers, Gaffer. Love you.
Oh, he's away again.
He got up and left.
That's me bench. That's you know when they come around for that, and that's me bench next week. I can tell because that was my analysis from George then, and yeah.
No, you should be. You're probably
Thanks
on the
for coming,
show.
Andrew.
Yeah. Thanks for the memories.
You did your best, mate.
Thanks for the memory. Time to go. Yeah,
I'm off to Barcelona with Leah.
Yeah. Yeah. James, thank you as well, mate. It was good to see you yesterday.
It was good to finally see you in person, mate. Thanks for having us again.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll try and not be as controversial next time, hopefully.
If you can be extra controversial, it's good for us, so it's fine.
Make me look a bit better, James, so I don't mind it. I think you'd win the title most controversial this weekend.
If you start getting abused in the chat, then we know we've made it. So.
There's been a couple of little digs. Apparently, Cena's not getting on to the last 20 minutes, so we're going to see a flurry of goals at the end of the Liverpool game. So,
and Mel, thank you as well. Well done yesterday. Proud of you as well.
No worries. Thank you very much. It still hasn't really sunk in from yesterday, but it's a feeling that you can't put into words. But it was unreal.
If you do sign for Arsenal, just remember me, please.
Of course. How could I forget?
Yeah. Like when I'm shouting in the crowd, and you think, "Oh yeah, it's just George."
Yeah.
And just, so yeah, thank you everyone. Hope you all have a good week. For those who are watching as well, those who are travelling out to Norway, travel safe. Those who are travelling in the north, travel safe. Good night, everyone.